Let me clear my throat. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sounder created out of the Sounder of Lady Hoggers. My name is Molly from the Copper Penny Farm, and as always, I got my friends with me. Say hello, my friends. Hello.
Hello, my friends. I am Laura Jensen. The Pig Nerd is where you can find out all the different hats that I wear. I know we always take a minute here to talk about what's been going on. As usual, there's no shortage of big things happening around here. I got my for real final approval for my federal license last Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving. They had told me it was all in. Yeah. And then they called me and they're like, yeah, only one part's clear. You got to clear the other parts. And my background check wasn't in. Can't be a felon and have a federal meat plant, by the way, which I don't have that problem. So,
Well, hell, I wanted one. I can't
right.
now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Well, everybody got a story.
That's right.
So,
You
yep.
know,
Yep. So we're excited and it's kind of like, wow, it's here. What do we do next? Because now I can literally wholesale everything but pepperoni. So that's all my RTEs, they call them ready to eats. Opens up a whole new world for us that we're like, what the heck's going on? So
why
that
the
was
fuck do you sell
exciting.
pepperoni? What's wrong
I'm
with
sorry.
pepperoni?
Pepperoni to go wholesale requires a heat treat equipment to scale it that I don't have, and I'll get there. So that same piece of equipment, I hope we'll find out once we get into it. I think we'll have it within the next 12 to 18 months. I'd also like to offer a ready to eat line. I mean, don't we all need a bag of chicken or a bag of beef we can grab that's clean and we can eat and go on? So that's kind of where I'm going next with
Oh,
that
fantastic.
license.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. That's
Well,
fantastic.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. So now it's all about cash flow in the holidays and trying to prepare and not over prepare. In the pig world, still waiting on a sow to drop that I would have thought has already, and everybody keeps asking me, what do we do? And as y'all know, there's really not anything you can do. We're
No, that
just,
bitch is holding. Well, I mean, at this point, she must have been a cycle behind.
yeah, if not two, not two. But all I can tell you is her belly's big and getting bigger, and she's not cycling.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
we sit and wait on her. The AMBA, honestly, I've been busy with the holiday in the store. So I'm getting back into that this week to work on some of the updated bylaws and on a personal level. Doing pretty good. One of my daughters is really struggling. A friend of hers took his life over the holiday, and that's been hard. Um, but we keep hugging and sharing the love and moving forward.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
What you
too
got
bad.
going on, Amanda?
I'm sorry to hear that, Laura. I know that's got to be so tough. I know that my
Yeah.
brother experienced that with several friends when he was younger, and as a sister, it's tough to know how to navigate that, and I can't imagine navigating that as a parent. So I'm sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, yeah. I am Amanda Buck with Buck Family Ranch, and we this weekend, this holiday weekend, we spent time getting together with family on Thanksgiving, and then beyond that, we were building barn all weekend. So we made really, really good progress. We went from just having poles in the ground to having walls that are framed and sheeted, and we have a roof. It's ready for metal. So I feel
Wow.
like, yeah, we made major progress. So I was happy with that. It's just me and Kellen working on it. So we're happy with that. I won't be able to paint it anytime soon
Yeah.
because the temperatures are frigid already. So as we were working on it over the weekend, we had wind blowing all weekend, sometimes from the north and sometimes from the south. And one of the days, I don't even remember which day, but it was like the feels like temp with the wind chill was 9 degrees. And we were just like, let's just bust it out. We just got to get it done.
Yeah,
Wow. Are you
Yeah.
posting this on your Facebook page? I'd love to see the progress.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I haven't posted anything yet. We were just working on it so steady over the weekend that I really didn't take very many videos or show many pictures, but I'll be posting some pictures soon because I'm proud of it.
Yes, you should be.
Yeah,
Yes.
like with each little thing that we're doing, like when we put in the big fence that we put in, that just it felt like, we were getting some roots planted. And now as we're putting in this barn, it's even more of that feeling. And so it's just really nice to finally feel like we're gaining momentum, we're making progress. And another thing, this weekend, our kids, they got out Christmas lights and hung Christmas lights up all over the place. And normally the OCD in me would kick in and be like, oh my God, we got to do something about this because they're just like haphazard wherever. But we decided just to leave them because it's their thing. They were proud of it. They're really happy about it. And the other thing about where we are building, there has literally never been anything here. So everything that we are doing is happening for the very first time. So we're like, those Christmas lights that got put up by our children, that is the first time Christmas lights have ever been here. So
That's beautiful.
we're just gonna leave them.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what we've had going on this weekend. But what about you, Molly?
Oh, well, I got a fucking crick in my neck.
Ugh.
I swear to God, it's just not good. It's not good.
Yeah.
It's down in my shoulder. It feels like it's at my ear.
Ugh,
Oh God. But
the
no,
worst.
I've had a pretty eventful few days here lately. My Sal Penny got the law called on her. So that was a fantastic time.
New
Yeah.
neighbors?
See, the thing is, like, I don't have any neighbors. So, she went across the mountain, uh, into the neighborhood,
Oh shit.
and, she made quite the disaster up there. I guess the 1,000 acre of acorns and shit at my house taste way worse than the ones in the neighborhood. They must have fancy acorns.
Oh Lord.
And we learned a lesson that day. So, people can only love me so much. And, although they love me, they still call the law on me and my hog.
Well, what did the law say? What was their reaction?
Well, I tried to act like it wasn't my hog because I had her in the lot when they came.
Ah, there you go. Yeah. Can't
And
prove it.
they were like, come on, Molly, you're the only one with hogs. And I was like, it must have been a feral one because that was not mine.
No way Penny would do that.
No, I was like, do you see that hog over there? Does she look like she would be up there destroying people's land?
And they were probably like, yeah, she does.
Yeah. So we got a little talking to that day. And anyways, no, I finally she's on electric fence now and she's not been out in 2 days, so that means a lot.
Good.
Yeah.
Yes, finally got her secured. She stands in the field and stares at me with the most hateful ass stare you've ever seen. It's the death stare. So
you and Penny having it out. Yeah.
Yes. No, I've been willing and squilling. I've been delivering hogs all over fucking North Carolina this week or this weekend. I got that done and came home. I'm doing a bunch of shit. I got an event on the 3rd for my books and my farm and stuff like that. So I'm trying to get everything. I got a few pieces of artwork I got to get finished up for that. And just trudging through life, man. Trudging through life.
Well, all right.
Yep. So today, y'all ready to talk a little bit?
Yeah. I'd like to talk to my friends. Absolutely.
Yes. So today we're going to go back to right before for our Thanksgiving episode where we were talking about thankfulness and abundance mindset and everything and trying to prepare ourselves for the upcoming Thanksgiving and holidays. But today, we thought that we might play off that a little bit and talk about what we did on Thanksgiving, the changes, because all three of us are going through different times in our lives. We got a lot of things going on. How do we cope with the changes during the holidays? What did our holidays look like? Were we prepared for that?
Mm-hmm.
So y'all ready to talk about it?
Let's do it. Where you want to jump in?
Let's go. All right. So, one of the things in the last episode, Laura, you was talking about, you are a ball humbug, right? You're not about the holidays.
Yeah. The F-bomb came out and all that. And that was truly where I was at when we recorded it. I had a lot going on, a lot of emotions, and I worked through a lot of them. I'm not going to say they're laid to rest, but ultimately I figured out why I hated him. And as life would have it, being open to what each day brings, it actually ended on a beautiful note. I was really mad that my family wasn't together for the first time ever. My 4-pack,
Yeah.
That this was the first year we had been separated, and it was through no fault of my own. And that was just a hard pill to swallow, that I had to accept that and realize that it was what was best for everybody involved to do that, in respecting each person's boundaries, and that it was okay that the people involved are not someone that are part of my journey anymore, if that makes sense. That part is over, and it was okay to just say, you know what, this really sucks, and get up and just see what the day brought. And so for me, it meant not doing anything, which is, y'all know me, I don't do that well. And the first thing I noticed was with no meal prep, with no traditions from a lot of stressful inputs, I was happy. I just didn't, there was nothing to stress about.
Yeah.
Was the tablecloth right? Was the turkey good? Is everything coming together? Did I forget to put something in the oven? Did I time the oven so I can cook everything? All of that was just gone. And I stayed home with my youngest daughter. And through our journey of the last 5 or 6 years, it has been so tough. We haven't really been able to connect a whole lot, but we did that day. And we hung out together, and we just decided that we wanted Chinese food. We originally wanted hibachi, and we just knew they were going to be open. They were not. So we just rode around, and we found the one Chinese food place that was open, no sit down dining. And we went in there, and they were all sitting around. They had been really slow. This was like 5:30 or whatever. So we ordered our food, and I gave them each a good tip, and it seemed to brighten their day, which made us happy. And then we just came home, and I ate Chinese like I don't have food allergies.
Mm-hmm.
And and it actually didn't kick my butt the next day. It was great. So, for me, it was like a full circle moment of, the reality is I don't think I want traditional Thanksgivings anymore. Bill and I were talking about it last night, and to go in with all these expectations from years past that had me wound tight, I realized that it's time to go a new way. Let's make some new traditions. Let's figure out what makes our family happy, what works for us, and at the end of the day, just be together and love each other, and to heck with all the rest of that stuff. So that was my full circle journey. How about y'all?
Go ahead, Amanda.
Well, this Thanksgiving was definitely different. Last year was our first Thanksgiving away from my family in North Carolina. And so this year, kind of going into it, I remember last year, even Thanksgiving is one of my very favorite holidays. Thanksgiving and Christmas. I'm the opposite of Laura. I'm just like, this is my
Thankfully.
time.
Yeah, good.
And I know last year I just cried and cried and cried because I just missed my family so much.
Mhm.
And things were just different. And I was actually dreading doing something different, like having, not that I was dreading spending time with Kellen's family, but it was just going through the motions of doing something that I was so used to doing with my own family. And so it just felt, I don't know, I had so much dread going into it. And then when we got together last year with his family and had our meal together and had some time to visit, it was really nice. And I I enjoyed my time. I still missed my family, but enjoyed my time. And I think that for me was like letting me know like it's different, but it's okay. And
Yeah.
this year, I'm going into it, um, I don't know. I will say that this last year, there's been so much out of my control that I have just learned to be like, it's fine. It's all going to be fine. It will be fine. I feel like in my past life, I'd be freaking out about this, all these things. Whereas
Yeah.
right now, it's like, we've been held up by planning and zoning. We've been held up by the bank. We've been held up by weather. We've been held up by, all these different things. Um, and I think I've just learned that even in the moments that like somebody else looking into our lives might look at it and be like, man, you are in the middle of a shit storm, but we're still happy. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that this Thanksgiving, that was kind of how it felt. Like things are a little hectic. We're still camper living. We're going into winter. Um, uh, we're getting ready to kind of begin the process with planning and zoning to get our property rezoned so that we can build on our land. And then hit the ground running, getting started with our build. And so I feel like we're just kind of like in this time where there's a lot going on, a lot of moving parts, but really it's all just stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it will all work out in some way. It might not be the way that I am envisioning in my mind, but it'll all work out and be fine.
Yeah.
So Thanksgiving, we processed gobble.
I'm gonna tell you
Which,
right now. I'm gonna tell you right now. I love Amanda and I love the Buck family. But when she see me a picture of that motherfucking turkey, I was like, this is where I'm gonna have to draw the line.
she told me she was ashamed of me. But gobble was tasty.
I was hoping y'all get food poisoning and she make you shit for days.
Oh my God.
That whole deal went really well, actually. Scout. So we got Gobble out of the run, and the kids, Dash and Hallie, told Gobble bye. Scout wanted to come with us when Kellen and I went and did the dispatching part, and so we all walked out together, and I told Scout, I was like, let's just say a prayer. We're gonna thank God for Gobble, and thank God for giving Gobble to us, and that we were able to give Gobble a good life, and all these things. So I did that, and then when her life was expired, I was sitting there with tears running down my face, and Scout was just like, she was fine. She was fine. I mean,
Yeah.
she knew that was what was going to happen. And she had been giving extra care to Gobble all week, like feeding Gobble, giving Gobble extra love, like doing all this stuff. And so I don't know, like, even though it was really sad, and I am still sad, I'm also so thankful that our kids can have that kind of experience and understand what it means to love an animal, but to love and respect an animal during life and in death. And
Yeah.
so it was good. And
And Gobble was a mommy.
yes, when I was cleaning her out, I found an egg that was like about to be laid, and then cavity full of yolks. So yep, she Gobble was a girl. Um, but you know what? She was almost 24 pounds dressed. She was big.
Wow.
Jesus.
Girl. Yeah, she was big
Wow.
girl. So she gave our family a meal, our Thanksgiving meal, and then provided meals for everybody to take home. So
Mhm.
it was good. And I think that kind of going back to expectations and things like that. We had no idea what to expect with gobble. We didn't even know if it was going to be good meat. But we were really happy with the way it turned out. And as far as our time together with family this year, it was so relaxed and
Mhm.
just really enjoyable. We had a good visit with everybody, and I don't know, it was a good opportunity to kind of get together, enjoy our time together, and kind of, it's like you figure out what things really matter, what matters most. And it's like,
Yeah.
get all this stuff going on, and it's not all going exactly how we want it to. It'll all be okay, but we're going to come over here. We're going to have some time just to enjoy for a bit. And it was good. It was really good. So, and I think that's kind of when you were talking about traditions, Laura, and how realizing that some things need to change, that I feel like has been the biggest thing for me, because for almost 40 years of my life, I've been doing holidays the exact same way.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so to now be doing it a little bit differently, it feels weird. But at the same time, there are certain aspects of that that, just like we are paving the way in our lives right now, um, it's kind of like paving the way with holiday traditions and new things and stuff for our own family, and not
Mhm.
just the things that we've grown up doing. So,
Yeah, exactly.
what about you, Molly?
Well, my Thanksgiving was very different.
Yeah.
For my entire life, except for, when I lived overseas, I always go to my mama's. We have, our family goes to my mama Betty's, my parents, they haven't been together in, I don't know, a long time, 15 year or more. But,
Mhm.
my mom still goes over to my mama's and everybody. But anyways, this Thanksgiving, I did not do that. I stayed home by myself and I sat in a field all day long. Uh, because I think that I needed that. Uh, my life is really different at this point, so I'm gonna cry, dear God. But
I'm
anyway,
a joiner.
but no, my life is real different at this point. This was the first holiday in 12 years that I spent it alone. So I think that I needed that time to be alone, to process my life, a little bit.
Yeah.
Sure.
But no, I did have a good Thanksgiving though. It gave me the time that I needed to truly be thankful on that day, because I think that, I go through my days and, I'm always thankful that I'm alive. I'm always thankful this and thankful for that. But I think the holidays brings a different aspect to
Mhm.
those, to see how really thankful you truly are, you know.
Mhm.
And so I just sat around and I've spent way too many months here lately, just kind of meandering around. I've got all these projects and stuff, but I've been in a very weird state in my mind. Um, I'm sad, I'm mad, I'm whatever. But Thanksgiving was, I may have cried a little bit, but it was a good day for me, and I think it's what I needed.
Mhm.
I needed that time alone, not time with everybody questioning me about my life and my marriage, and you
Yeah.
know, so that's what I did. But it also drank a few Budweisers. So,
Yeah.
but but I think though, in those times, a lot of people do. When your life has changed, like Amanda's moved cross country, although she still does have Kellen and them's family out there, she doesn't have her own, you know.
Mhm.
And then Laura, I mean, you got what you got going on with your kids and your family and your businesses and stuff like that, and mine, I'm going through a major change in my life as well. Being alone for the first time in however long. But I think that it brings a whole new aspect, the holidays do, because you're really in it at that point. You realize, like, like your like the people who used to be there are not there. The place you
Yeah.
used to cook, you're not there. The people
Yeah.
that usually surround you, are different. So it's a lot of change. It's a lot of emotion. But just like we were talking in the last podcast, how do we overcome that? How do we change our mindset on that?
Yeah.
And that's really what I spent my time doing, was figuring out how to change my mindset from the sadness of the situation to being truthfully happy and thankful, and having that abundance mindset for the I mean, I live in a beautiful place. I have a beautiful home, although my hogs have tore it all to hell. But I got all these things. I got such good things going for me. And it's trying to focus more on that than the circumstance of that one circumstance of my life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've had to learn, I had to pull my family through the last years, and I don't regret it. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. But in doing that, I had to tuck in things, There's no time to cry, there's no time to be sad. There's no time to really take
Yeah.
care of me. I had to make it happen for everybody and everything else. There was a lot on the line in every aspect of my life. So yeah, I did sit around and cry some too, and it was good, to get that out, to just let it go, and that helped me process things a lot. That was definitely before my Thursday. I spent some nights doing that, and I'd always felt ashamed, I think, for crying about it. And I'm sure that's all part of raising and whatever you want to add to it. But I've realized it's really not. It's part of the healthy processing of what was, and frees me up to go after what is.
I I look at crying. Now, I don't like to cry. Now, I tell you what, I get absolutely infuriated when I cry. But like you said, though, it's about raising. I was not raised to cry.
No, that
But
was weakness. You get picked on unmercifully for that shit.
yes, but I think, though, I'm heading towards 40, and going through this emotional roller coaster that I have been on. One thing that I have realized is that I don't think I did enough crying.
Hmm.
You know,
That, yes.
yeah, I don't
Yeah.
think that I didn't let myself experience emotion. So now, being almost 40 and trying to experience almost 40 years of emotion
Yeah.
is very bombarding.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you're 10 years ahead of me. I mean, I'm 51, and I'm just
Yeah.
now figuring this out. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're right with that. I think that, a lot of us are kind of taught not to not to cry, or not to express emotions, or not to this, or not to that. It's whether it's a sign of weakness or misbehavior, or, whatever it may be when you're growing up. And I know that's one thing, like Kellen, um, he, like, if he's happy or excited, I'll be like, "Isn't this so exciting?" And he'll be like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
That's
all dude style, right?
yeah, yeah. And and same thing, like, if he's angry, he gets really quiet, but he doesn't express that. And so I think that that is true. Like, with the way that we were raised, the way society views certain emotions and things like that. But really, I feel like when you're going through things, you don't want to make decisions all the time based on emotion, because that can end up leading you, it
Yes.
will steer you wrong. But I
Mhm.
do think that if you can feel those things and express those things, get them out, helps give you a clear mind to be able to make decisions moving forward. I think
Mhm.
that's the things that this move taught me, because I think that I had a lot of pent up emotions due to some of the things going on in my life that I felt were out of my control, or that I felt maybe I felt guilty for, but then at the same time, like looking at it, it's like, well, it is out of my control. Like, I know I've shared before that in North Carolina, we've been trying to add to our family for years. And um, in doing that, we have lost three. And so um, I have harbored that guilt for a really, really long time. And I think that even though you can you can say, oh, well, you shouldn't feel guilty for that, you still kind of do, because it's like
Yeah.
my body that's not doing what it should naturally be doing. Um, but really it's out of my control. And I think that holding that in for so long led to a lot of stress and a lot of anxiety and a lot of other issues that really had such a negative effect on my life, my ability to mother, my ability to be a good wife, and just being a good me and taking care of me. And so I think it is really important to be able to, if you need to have a good cry and just get it out, if you need to yell, if you need to do whatever you need to do, um, to be able to once again have a clear mind to be able to make your decisions moving forward. You really do need to do that. And
Well,
Yeah.
I do. I also think, though, we can take this back to when we talked about the struggling farmer. You know,
yeah,
Mhm.
I think this connects to that as well about, the culture, the mindset, the environment, that a lot of us live in.
yeah,
It leads up to, like, Laura talking about her sister's friend who took their life. I've had multiple friends in the past years that I went to school with take their own life. The earliest one being last Easter. You know,
hmm
Mhm.
so but it comes from that as well, because we all, every time something tragic happens, we're like, well, I never thought that about that person. Like, you know, but I think it goes back to that as well. We feel scared to even admit that we are sad, or to show our emotion or anything like that. Like Amanda going through what you did, that's a taboo thing that women feel like they can't talk about, because we feel like we're not woman enough, at that point or whatever. So, it really connects to a lot of things, and it takes it back to, putting ourselves in a better mental state and embracing who we are and what we're going through at that time, because there
Mhm.
are people out there that can connect with us.
Yeah, and I hope that that's something this podcast does for our friends and listeners out there. For me, it's kind of weird in a good way. A few months ago, I mean, I'd known this Thanksgiving thing was coming for months. I'd been dreading it for a while, but somewhere in the middle of all that, I just remember getting really tired of emotions. If
Yeah.
that makes any sense. It's, when you have as many things coming at you as I do in a given day, you can't keep applying emotion to an answer because it's irrelevant ultimately, and
Mm-hmm.
it's exhausting. And so I've had that epiphany this year, but then to look at the other side of that, to say, I don't want to assign emotion to this list of things anymore, but on the other side, it opened me up to cry my eyes out about this pain in the past that I needed to move on. What do y'all think about that?
I think it's a grieving process, man.
Yeah, probably is.
I
Probably
do
is.
that. I feel like that's what it is. When we think of grief, I feel like when I think of grief, I think of losing someone. But
Yeah.
Well,
really,
that's
I feel like,
exactly what I was going to say.
yeah, I think of losing someone when I think of grief. But really, I think there's so many situations that you can go through that can cause grief. That's like
Yes.
Yes.
and you have to go through that healing process. That's why I think last year at Thanksgiving, for me to be so upset for not being able to be with my family, that was part of grieving the loss of having Thanksgiving in that way, or
Hmm.
doing things. But it also, in grieving that, opened the door for me to be able to experience new things that I actually really enjoyed. And I
Yeah,
think
Yeah.
that's
that kind of sounds like that's kind of what we've all experienced, is like you can
yeah.
still be sad and missing things of the past, but that doesn't mean that you can't also enjoy the things currently or to come. even though
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And and for me, my grief
Well,
wasn't there was not a death, but it was a death.
yeah,
Sometimes things happen and people do
yes.
things and you have to draw a line in the sand for everybody's health and safety. And that's even harder, I think, ultimately, it almost, and I'm not wishing this on anybody, nobody take it that way, but when there's a true death, it's almost is a more definitive line instead of why me and how did this happen. But I think y'all nailed it. Once again, y'all are amazing. I hadn't thought about it like that, that it is grief and processing all of it.
yeah.
Well, uh, I so it when everything happened in my life at first, I handled it with like hell hath no fury, you know.
Of course. Yeah.
Yes, because that's how I always. It's easier. I think it's easier for us to be angry.
Sure. Sure.
You
Then
know.
to express other emotions. I would go there first. Yeah. I'd be an angry
Yes.
bitch.
Yeah. Yeah. So my first instinct is like legit anger, which is something that I've worked on, for many years of my life. Just the anger part. But when I started crying unannounced to myself, like just crying, I was talking to Bob Maddie, and Bob Maddie told me, he was like, Molly, I was like, I don't know what the fuck is wrong with me. He's like, it's you are grieving. And I'm like,
Mhm.
but nobody died.
Yeah. Yeah. And
And
everybody goes through divorce, or a lot of people do. So what's the big deal?
yes. He's like, but it's not, you don't have to grieve over death. He's like, grief is for a loss of anything, you know.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
it's a loss, it's a feeling of disappointment. It's that. It doesn't mean somebody's life is taken, you know. And that really hit me hard because, I've experienced grief for that, but I never thought this was grief. And that is what it is.
Until today, I never looked at it like that. I just thought it was the pain of the struggle that I'd gone through, but y'all are exactly right.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the loss of, like, my grief at this moment in my life is the loss of attachment, a loss of friendship, a loss of, that.
Hmm.
Um and so, yeah, it is grief. And I think that we have to experience that, because I feel like if I wasn't crying like I do now, I would probably be insane. I think we have to let that out
Yeah, or
I-
instead of
you'd
bottle it up.
ultimately you'd be an unhappy person. Call it what you
Yes.
want, but you would be unhappy. You would project unhappiness, and you would not enjoy life, and that would be a true loss, really.
Yeah.
well, and I do, if you are, I mean, if you think about, I am not familiar with all of the stages of grief, but I do think that if you are not able to kind of fully process and move through that, you kind of are stuck. And
Hmm.
so, any
Yes.
as you have moving forward, you still have that there. And I think that it really stinks. I mean, just like you were saying, Laura, and I know you, Molly, too, having to experience those emotions is, at times, it almost feels like it's too much. Like you just
Hmm.
cannot handle anymore.
Hmm.
Um, but I think that if you can push through and just feel those feelings, express them, and then move forward. Don't dwell in those things. Allow yourself the time it needs to heal and grieve and process, but don't dwell there forever, because
Hmm.
that's not healthy
Yeah.
either.
Yeah.
But being able to experience those things and move forward, I know that is exactly what this move was for me. And it's tough because I feel like, I know I've said this before too. We chose to move. It was a choice. It wasn't anything that we had to do out of necessity. We chose to do it. But because of the relationship that I have with my family and the members of our church back home and things like that, it just it felt like grieving the loss of the closeness with those people,
Hmm.
or the ability to see them whenever we wanted to. And But I will say that I also have such an appreciation for my family and my friends back in North Carolina. And, um, now as we're getting ready to go and do something else non-traditional and hop on an airplane Christmas Eve morning to fly, to fly back to North Carolina to visit everybody. Um, I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I'm really excited about it. And I know that I would be excited regardless, but I feel like I have even more of an appreciation for that because of having gone through those feelings and realizing, what truly is important. What do I truly value? And kind of embracing that. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is
that's a great point. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
this topic too is interesting because I know even like in our kids, seeing them go through things and process things, and like our youngest Scout, she just turned 5 in September. And one of the things that my family back in North Carolina was really concerned about was that Scout wouldn't remember them because she was young enough when we moved. They're like,
Mhm.
I just thought she's going to be able to remember us. Well, she remembers everybody. And when we told her that we were going to go home to visit for Christmas, she told us she didn't want to go. And we were like, why? Why don't you want to go? Aren't you so excited to see everybody? And she said, yes, but I don't want to be sad all over when we have to leave. And
Yeah.
Oh my God.
yeah,
Ah,
so
how
it's just,
precious.
yeah, it is precious, but it's also one of those things where it's like, for me, I was grieving, but I think, and I was too blind to realize that maybe they were too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'll be
Yeah.
interesting, when we come back, when we leave and we come back, I'll be interested to see how that all goes. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous
Yeah.
for that with our kids, but I feel like even just having this conversation ahead of going will help me to kind of keep my eyes open for those signs, of they're sad or, whatever they may be experiencing. But I mean, not that they don't love everybody here too. It's just that was their life
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
their lives until we moved. So
Yeah.
anyway,
Well,
Well,
you
go ahead, Molly.
like on Thanksgiving, my family was very upset
That you didn't
that
come or
I didn't go to Mama's.
ah. Mhm.
So, Mama, she makes me my own ham. She makes, I get my own salty ham. I get fruit salad made specifically for me, like, all this stuff. And so, like, I know that she was upset. My mom was pissed. My dad was pissed. My Uncle Benny, he was sad, but I mean, he understands.
yeah,
But I think that, after the holiday was over and then I spoke to everybody was more considerate of how I felt instead of, wanting to bombard me, with their anger that I wasn't there. They understood because I truly needed that time, you know, my first holiday in 12 year by myself. Like I needed that time.
yeah,
Mhm.
And so I was thankful that, they did understand that. And I think that one thing that I hope people do take from what we do also is the understanding of others and other circumstances and how they handle those, not being judgmental of people or making people feel a certain way like they want you to feel.
Yeah.
We accept everybody. We try to help everybody in every circumstance, and it's the understanding that people need more than anything.
Yeah. I agree. I have learned to love better and more deeply from this, beyond a doubt. What
Yes.
you were touching on, both of y'all were touching on. I wasn't in the right frame of mind to appreciate and truly deeply love and be happy with who I am, what I have, and where I am until coming out the other side of this. So I
Yeah.
guess that's the beauty and the pain at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. I one thing that I have realized is like it was hard for me. I was not raised emotional. I was
Yeah,
not
me neither.
raised Yeah, I was not raised to express things. Everything was about work. getting through life. Like, don't be a pussy. Come on now,
Mhm. Mhm.
So, but as far as that got me in life, that got me to the woman that I am today, which is, I think is a strong ass woman, you know.
Absolutely. And I don't think you should walk away from that. There's a time and place
No,
for it.
yeah, yeah. No, I do think, I don't brag about myself a lot, but I do think that I'm pretty strong as a woman. But, I also see the hindrances
Yeah.
that being like that has caused me in my life, especially with relationships with people.
Mhm.
you know I'm very closed off for a lot of things. I have a million people that call me friends and that I call friends, but I
Mhm.
can only count on my hand the actual friends that I have,
Mhm.
um because I'm very tight with my emotion, you know
Mhm.
but I think, going into the holidays and stuff, I thought about that as well. How that hindrance may have kept me from experience. It did keep me from experience true emotion and grieving and everything. And now, here I am being bombarded with it. But how do I, circumvent all of that and change it to where, the days are better and I feel more open in myself.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and
It's
I
go
think
ahead.
that too, it can be hard to really let the wall down for a lot. You know, it's important to be selective. I do think that because there are plenty of people out there who will, whether it's intentional or unintentional, take advantage. And it does play with your emotions and your mental state and all those kinds of things. So I think it is important to be selective. It's great to have a network of people, a community. They may not
Yes.
be your ride or die, but they're all a part of your community. And I feel like
Yeah.
it's good to have that, just like it's good to have your few that you're super close with. Um,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and so I think that's okay. It's okay to have that and to not feel I don't think that you have to feel bad for that or feel like you need to let the wall down to everybody because you don't. Um, in my mind, I know for myself, I am naive in that I will give people the benefit of the doubt. They don't have to earn my trust. They have my trust from the get-go. And
Yeah.
that ends up burning me a lot of the times because then
Mhm.
I'm who's like, man, I thought I could trust them. Um, and so I'm really I call it naivety. I feel like I'm naive in that way. But um I also now I am a little more guarded and I don't feel like that's necessarily a bad thing. I don't think that you have to go around like letting your wall down with everybody. I feel like you can keep your guard up a little bit, but
Yeah.
I forgot
Well,
where got distracted by a chicken walking across the yard. I forgot where I was going with that.
no, I
Sorry.
think though, I know that this podcast, this episode really touches on a lot of things because, like you bringing up community, Amanda, that's one of the things that we preach because it truly is what we need.
Yes,
Yeah.
As
everybody.
creatures of this earth, you need a community, not just a family or friends. You need a community in what you're doing. Like we're all in farming, so we have our community. We have
Mhm.
our community of hog people. We have our community for whatever we do. Having those communities is what helps us get through things.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was thinking about that before we came on about is this a farming problem or is this a culture and problem's probably not the right word. Is this farming, culture, or community? Some of both. And I think the answer is both. I have just as many close friends outside of farming as I do in farming. And
Yeah.
y'all may be the same.
Yeah. I would
Yeah, I
agree.
think yeah, I would agree too. And and through the holidays, if you don't have family, like and there's more people out there that do not have family than we even can
That's
imagine.
right. That's right, for sure.
There is. And so if you don't have a family per se, the definition of family, whatever.
Mhm.
But if you have your community,
Mhm.
you got your people,
Mhm.
that's always what you need and can uplift you and get you through. You know,
Mhm.
I that's where, I keep myself open all the time. Here lately, I'm slow on getting back to people because I'm in such a fucking fog myself. But everybody can tell you I've always been super open, and like if you need me or whatever, I'm there for you. But I think at the same time, going back to our last podcast, I struggle with people being able to be there for myself,
Mhm.
Yeah.
you know.
Yes.
And I think that we struggle with that a lot. And I think Laura, you're like that too.
I am.
Like we will be there for you, but it's hard for us to let you be there for us.
And that gosh, that's probably its own episode. I am absolutely that way, and it's a combination of I don't fully understand that emotion, and I'm always shocked when people actually prove to me that they're that person. And that's that probably that worthiness that we all struggle with as human beings. But if you're raised in a way that that's never supported, I think it makes it even harder to know what's real or what's not, or how to accept that.
Yeah. Yeah. My a lot of people get on to me because I do not like to take help from anybody
Hmm.
because, I'm like, I can do this. I don't need your help. Like, when in reality I probably need about 10 of you. But you know, but it's the simple things that, really, and going back to that last podcast too, it is the simple things that people can do,
Hmm.
that just, not say nobody, but somebody was going to buy me a load of wood for my
Hmm.
place
Hmm.
because, they were worried about me being down here without any fucking heat.
Uh-huh.
But as small as that was, it really, like, it was hard for me to accept, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
but uh, it's a small thing. And I think that a lot of us, like me and Laura, whatever, it's hard for us to accept the little bitty things.
Yeah, we're the ones given, Molly. We're the ones answering the questions and being there for other people, and I often don't know what it should feel like to be on the
Yeah.
receiving end. And I've
Yeah.
had to, like you, I've had to accept that. And the peace I've made with myself, and this could be jacked up, y'all feel free to tell me, is sometimes it's okay to say, yes, I don't have to be the one that's always helping. But there's also that part that says, okay, but as soon as I can give back, I'm going to find somebody and I got to give back
Yeah.
somewhere. And that's
Yeah.
that's probably not healthy in some way, but that's how I process that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, the holidays really bring out all of this,
Oh,
because
yeah. Oof.
the the holidays, it's all about being thankful, no matter if it's Thanksgiving, Christmas, whatever, feeling blessed. It's all these
Yeah.
things. Yeah. But it's about give and take, you know,
Yeah.
it's about giving, but also being able to receive, you
Yeah.
know, it's about receiving kindness from people, but putting kindness back out, you know, it's
How
about
about
all this.
receiving
Yeah.
kindness from ourselves? How about that one?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too.
Whoa, that's a big one. It's been
Yeah.
Yeah.
very big for me. Stop being so hard on myself, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just a multitude of a lot of things. And I think that's the reason that a lot of people struggle during the holidays mentally.
Hmm.
That's why suicide rates go up. That's why depression sort of hits its peak during the holidays, because it is so much is put on these certain days,
Hmm.
you know, and then you feel like you're pushed to the edge when in
Hmm.
reality I see the significance, of the holiday, but in reality, we should be being like this every day.
Yeah.
Not just on a Thanksgiving, not just on a Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, or making plans on a New Year. You should be trying to make plans and achieving those goals every day. You should be kind every day. You should be thankful every day.
Yep. Only thing I would add is careful about that should word. That gets me in trouble.
The
But
what?
yeah,
Oh, shit. Oh,
the
yeah, yeah.
should word. And I think that's, we touched on that in the last podcast. That was something that really tweaked me hard. I feel like I balance myself pretty good most days, and I try to be positive, and I work on finding the beauty in people in the world just about every day of my life. And here comes this freaking holiday, you know, just to knock me off the rails. But it is what it is. I guess there's lessons to be learned in that too.
Yeah. Well, and with the whole should thing, I know I mentioned last time I do that constantly where I should
Yeah,
be
yeah, me
like
too. Yeah.
all these things. But I think that you know, when you think about things from a perspective of like I'm probably I know Laura you're going to be you're going to be good with this, but I feel like from a hippie perspective you are like manifesting things instead of saying I should be thankful every day. I should be this. I am thankful. I am thankful today. I am,
Oh, I'm absolutely manifesting things. I've been
yeah,
working on that and it works.
yeah,
You got to live that dream. Yeah.
yeah. I think that that's kind of where we kind of fall into. You can say, "Oh, well, I should be like that every day," and that feels kind of like a blanket statement in a way, instead
Mhm.
of saying, "I am that every day." And
Mhm.
I feel like it can be hard to affirm those things or manifest those things or whatever um, daily. I struggle with doing things like that daily. I just
Mhm.
don't work it into my day. But I think that even if you are not mentally saying that or physically writing it down or whatever, even if you are still finding things throughout your day where you're like, wow, that is a beautiful sunset.
Exactly.
Or, woo, it's chilly this morning. My pores are going to be really tightly closed. I don't know.
Yes. Yes. Let me take that selfie. My skin will be great.
We can try to find something. But I don't know. When you see people who need help, help. If you see somebody who's having a bad day, give them a hug. I don't know, like whatever it may be. I don't feel like we have to say the words, I should be doing this. You don't even have to think it, just do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's where I started. Just find beauty in something. Just find something to be happy about, even if it's one thing a day.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, this episode's been a little bit of a roller coaster, man.
I
I think
know.
for all of us. But you know what baffles me in a beautiful way, I'm gonna say it like that, is here we are, these three different people, but at the end of the day, we're all on the same baseline. We all have the same struggles. We're all on the same journey. We're all trying to find that light and love and beauty in our path. We're
Yeah.
just doing it through our own walk.
Yeah. Well, and I think it's important too to talk about it because, it might be something that we would talk about with a close friend, but if we, I'm sure that our listeners, the people who are listening, have experienced these same exact things. And
Yes,
so
at
I just
least.
talk about it and just put it out there. It's kind of like it happens. It's real.
Yeah.
We're all in different stages. We're in different states. We're doing different things and we are all experiencing it.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
I hope that this can be encouraging to anyone listening who's going through a hard time or somebody who is on an upswing just to keep them going, keep the momentum going.
Yeah.
Well, I think a lot of times too, I mean, how I feel too, I think people see me on social media and I'm happy and I'm, all these things. And I've had a lot of people be like, God, I wish I could live your life. And I'm like, oh, dude, what you, what you don't fucking know is,
Yeah.
Yep,
and
definitely.
I think that that's one thing also, people need to realize that we are humans as well, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
I'm a creature of this earth too, and I go through things, but I think that a lot of people can connect with us because we are real about that. Our ups and
Yeah.
our downs, our fucking downfalls and our achievements. We cheer each other on when things are good. We support each other when things are bad. You know, And I think that's what connects us to people, is that we are real about who and what we're going through.
Yeah, it's the only way to be.
Only way. All right, so y'all ready to go feed them damn hogs and them churros?
No, it's cold here, but I'll go anyway.
We can't feed Gobble no more because Gobble's fucking dead, but
Gobble can feed them today, though.
yeah.
My God. Well, I'll go take care of my sheep though. They were
Yeah.
I gotta tell you this really quickly. Yesterday, I think the cold snap that we have had has made everybody feeling frisky because we yesterday witnessed our ram attempting to do his job.
Oh yeah,
Well,
look
okay.
at him go.
So I'm like, it's about time.
It was the Chris Bear, you know.
Like, you keep going to rut like deer. Is this? I know that they are usually in the cooler months, more fertile and stuff, but we'll see. We'll see.
Good
We
luck.
may have little baby cherries.
Yes. There better be no maybe. It better happen.
Yes, we're gonna have baby
Speak it
cherries.
into existence.
Yes.
Yes, yes. All right, well, y'all go feed them animals, and I'll catch you on the next one.
All right, bye, y'all.
I love you. Love
Love
you,
you.
too, bye.